Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's going on, Fantasy Champs?
What's up?
Rick is death. Minus Morgan Colby.
I'm on my deathbed.
Minus Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always. He is currently, we always do these podcasts from our basement / bedrooms and
I'll show you guys a little
/ offices, and he's just dead right now.
Literally dying.
He's been throwing up every hour on the hour. But you know what?
You know why, man? Because I'm just that excited for the NFL draft.
That's why you're throwing up.
I wish.
You're nervous about the Patriots and who they're picking at 14?
Yeah. Every mock draft I see them taking Bihan, I throw up again.
I didn't force him.
No, I did volunteer.
He volunteered.
I did take like an hour after you had asked. Not an hour, maybe like 20 minutes, half hour. But that's okay. Do you know what I was doing during that time?
No.
Well, you can take a guess on one of them.
Throwing up in the shower?
That was earlier.
Oh.
But I threw up, and then I was just trying to get out of my bed to get my laptop and bring it back to my bed. That took like 10 minutes.
That's miserable.
It's one of those stomach bugs. Hey, but it's the same one the Bruins got, so you know what that means.
He's alive. He's here. He's a big Bees fan and
honorary captain.
Honorary team captain over here. I am convinced after watching the I'm not going to get into hockey, but Patrice Bergeron's not hurt. I mean, not sick.
Yeah, he gets rest.
Yeah, it's rest.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's crazy though, to rest your captain in the playoffs.
Seriously, they're loons. But anyway, we got a rookie mock draft 2.0. So the last one we did was a couple days ago because I just posted that podcast. But this one is going to be the second of that edition, back to back. And then later this week, we should also have a must draft running back show next week. We're jumping into draft stuff because the NFL draft is on freaking Thursday next week. And we're going to find out where some of these young kids that we've been talking about for the last month are going to land. It feels like we haven't even talked about them at all, to be honest with you.
No, I know the Dynasty community has been talking about this draft, though, for
been talking about for 3 years.
10 decades.
But guy. You're talking about Caleb Williams already, so I know who you're 101.
That is true. I can't even talk.
Caleb Williams is going to be Spencer Rattler.
Dude, he honestly, I've been thinking that, the hype is so high on him, he might just suck this year.
The Texans tank for him. Don't draft. Did you hear the report?
Yes.
This is crazy. If you haven't heard this report, guys, go look it up. But Adam Schefter reported that everyone's been doing mocks, from Mel Kiper to Billy in his basement, mocking a quarterback to the first 3 to 4 teams in the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. Adam Schefter went on the TV stations today and said that he would be shocked. He would be absolutely stunned if a team outside of Indianapolis drafted a quarterback in the top 5. And obviously number 1 overall.
And Carolina. That's very interesting.
So it is a feasible possibility that the Colts could end up with CJ Stroud.
That would be a dream. If I was a Colts fan, I'd be so hyped.
If I was a Colts fan, I'd rip my pants off. If I was in the offices drafting that day for the Colts, I'd just trade the rest of my picks.
Now, I have a question, though.
You had a successful draft. You're done. Trade the rest of your picks. Sure.
Do you think it's a smokescreen?
It could be, but I typically trust Schefter's sources.
Right.
So I don't know that it is.
And now I have another question. If you're the Colts and you believe the report, do you still try to trade up to 3 so that way a team like the Raiders or the Falcons or some random team around the 8-9 range doesn't trade up to take Stroud?
You could do
that. Or do you just wait?
The problem is you kind of have to figure out. I don't know if this would work, but in fantasy football, I tend to do this if I know a player is hot to trot and people are after him. I always reach out to the other team that has the player and say, hey, if you got to deal with somebody else, come back to me. I might be able to offer more. So I don't know if that's something that the Colts are doing. Maybe they're calling up the teams in the top 5 or ahead
Well, the
of them.
Cardinals aren't. If I was the Cardinals, I would do it probably because if you can trade down one spot and get like a free third round pick, and you're going to get the guy you're drafting anyway,
Mm-hmm.
that seems like smart business.
But I do think the Colts are content with they're not getting Bryce Young. Bryce Young's going to be the first overall pick, by the way, everyone. I know there was talk about that.
I bet on that when he was plus like 300.
Yep. Yo, see, you're going to win that bet.
I only put like $5.
It could be shocking. It could be like Browns, like Panthers draft like Anthony Richardson.
That would be something
lunacy.
else.
That would blow everything up, and then you're going to get people trading up, and it's going to be crazy. But anyway, so I don't even know what I was saying prior to that, but the NFL
We're doing a mock.
The NFL draft is coming up. We're doing a mock draft today. I think this might be our last mock draft. I might switch out. I said we were going to do another ranking show.
Mm-hmm.
I might switch out that final ranking show, and we can do a mock draft 3.0 on draft day. It gets released on draft day, so we could do that.
Yeah, we do one post draft, right?
Yeah, probably. I think I have that on schedule. But we do have much draft running backs, which is redraft content coming up on Thursday. So after the NFL draft next week, from that point on, it's just OTAs. I kind of my mental football calendar is it's off season until training camp.
Yep.
And then training camp is football. So I usually do that, and then I realize that training camp and preseason are absolutely worthless to me, and I sit there for 6 weeks.
And there's it's like a month and a half, right, of training camp before you even get to the preseason. Maybe not a month and a half, but like a month.
it's 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
It
usually
always
2
feels
weeks.
longer.
Yeah, it's because there's all kinds of stuff leading into it, but it's typically 2 weeks long, and then the NFL starts the preseason the first week of August. So, now
So
it's
training camp's usually mid-July.
Actually, it might be 3 weeks because they got rid of 1 week of the preseason.
That's right.
So anyway, but lots of stuff coming, which means that next week's the end of April, which also subsequently means that we got May, June, and then we're in training camp month. So moving
That's
forward.
exciting.
But anyway, so we're going to give you 2.0 on this rookie draft. Before we do that, check out our website, fantasygymnast.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and any other podcasting platforms, please leave your review, share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like, and comment down below. So we're going to try to make both of these shows this week expeditious, considering that Rick is about to puke his brains out.
I'm on the verge.
I mean, he's even got his camera off right now. He is in vomiting mode.
Yeah, this anyway.
I feel like I'm not going to remind you about your sickness state, but I feel like your comments today are going to be like, why did you draft Bryce? Why did you have Behan with your second pick?
Right.
He's a good running back.
Also because this is not a super flex.
So
you got to pick a spot. You're not even in.
I haven't even jumped in yet. What is wrong with me? But anyway, so do all the things I just said. Let's jump into the rookie mock. This is not super flex, as Rick said. We're doing. I'm gonna trim this actually. I'm gonna trim this down.
Yeah, good call.
To a 10-team draft so that we can talk about real guys.
We'll be talking about absolutely nobodies in the fourth round of a 12 team, no super flex.
Seriously. So I'm gonna do the opposite of Rick. I'm gonna go team 9 here. So I was in the chip, and I just got robbed, and I'm out
My
for
team
vengeance.
blows.
Your team blows, but not enough to get the first overall pick.
Right.
So Rick's in a rebuild. I'm in a non-rebuild, so we're swapping roles a little bit this time, but a little bit more extreme. So I'm gonna go through some things that I would do possibly with my picks and obviously Rick's. Last week I didn't put it on the screen. Hopefully this stupid editing software that I use recognizes this video that I have my screen recording on.
Well, maybe you'll have more room this time too, thanks to me.
Yeah, that's true. I could just throw it on the side.
Right.
But anyway, all right, you ready to get us started?
Yes, sir.
All right. The draft is started. We got Behan off the board, 101. if he's 101 in a super flex league, I'm kind of stunned if he's not 101 in a regular standard league.
Yeah.
This PPR, by the way. So PPR 10-team non-super flex for the teams that still do that out there. I would say the rest of our mock drafts are probably going to be super flex. That's standard. But yeah, so Bihan's going to be the 101 regardless, no matter what. If you want this running back, trade up.
Right. And you're going to have to give up a lot, but he's going to be the 101 in every non-super flex league, and even in super flex leagues, he's at least debatable going number 1.
Yeah.
If you believe he's going to be the next Saquon Barkley type prospect, Christian McCaffrey like that RB1 for the next 5 years, it makes sense to take him there at 1. I think Gibbs is a great option in PPR as well. But I'm going to go JSN. I think, I got to turn off these sound effects.
Yeah, I was like,
damn it, Sleeper.
Whoa.
Yeah, I saw that. Interesting. But yeah, the JSN, I think he's going to be a PPR machine, kind of like a better version of a Monra. And you're getting that potentially wide receiver 1, which I would take over the low-end running back 1 versus the low-end wide receiver 1. I'll take the low-end wide receiver 1, especially on a team that probably isn't competing.
Yeah. No, not a bad idea. It goes with my strat at least. Take the wide receiver. I'm trying to rebuild. Jahmyr Gibbs, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, Bryce Young. I feel like in regular leagues that are not super flex.
Yep.
The first round is horrible.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of...
This is going to be a pretty terrible year for building your fantasy. I thought we were saving picks for this.
Yeah, I think, though, to be fair, there are a couple of guys on the board that probably should have been picked already over the guys that went. And, I love Bryce Young. He's probably my 101 in a super flex, but when Trevor Lawrence was a rookie, was he even a first-rounder? Or was he like the last pick of the first round?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think 106 is a little high for him. Jalen Hyatt could be solid. We'll see where he lands, but I think I would take some other guys on the board ahead of him. And same thing with Zach. So
yeah. This is interesting for me. Obviously you have Jahmyr Gibbs, Bihan off the board as the first 2 guys. Now, typically what I would do if I was a team trying to compete, my building structure for my dynasty team typically goes in order. Like if I'm doing a rebuild or starting a new team, is I focus on the running backs. Focus on the wide receivers, and the quarterbacks and the tight ends a little bit more than I do the running backs, because I know that at some point, I'm going to be able to build my team, using draft picks and trading away draft selections to pick up running backs. So I don't necessarily need to invest that much draft capital into the wide receiver position in a year that I'm competing. So I'm assuming now that my team, if I'm 1-9, unless I traded up for this pick, which I didn't in the mock scenario, that
maybe
my
you
team
did. Maybe you traded away your original pick, won the
you
championship, and then traded back into the 1-9.
So you could take it one of 2 ways, though. You could say, I'm going to draft a running back here, because there is some guys on the board that are decent at the running back
based
position.
on landing spots too, could end up being in the spot.
Like, I love Devin Akane. I like him more than Zach Charbonnet. So, like, I wouldn't mind him, but he might also be available at my pick the next time. I don't think he would, but maybe. But I think in this point, like, Jahmyr Gibbs is gone. Some of the receivers that I really like are gone, but there's one guy that I have ranked 2, and I think just sheerly based on value, I have to take Zay Flowers.
Yep. It's a good pick.
So I think this guy is like, we talked about him before. I watched more film on him. He's so friggin' twitchy. I hope he works out in the NFL. I hope he's just not like a glorified freaking Kadarius Toney.
It's still early, but Rondell Moore.
Oh my God, that would be horrible. But like, he's so freaking good. And he's got this elite ability to get away from defenders and make plays happen. So I really like him. I think there's a high ceiling here, and to get him 1-9 is crazy to me. I would see, like, he, in most rookie drafts that I've been doing, he's been going ahead of Quentin Johnston and Jalen Hyatt and even Zach Charbonnet. So I feel like I got this guy 4 picks early, or 4 picks later than he should have gone.
I definitely would have picked him as well. It's a good spot. Then followed by C.J. Stroud and Michael Mayer, or Mayer, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony Richardson is just staring at me, and I feel like I want to do it, but in a one quarterback, I don't really know if that's worth it in the top of the second round, and you can still get some quality players. I could go running back. And I think I would, depending on if I knew their landing spots. But this is a rebuilding team. I think Anthony Richardson, is a good choice because he's not going to play for you year one anyway, most likely, and then you got that upside. But you might have just wasted a second round pick, top of the second round.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough. I'm going to go with screw it. I'll go Anthony Richardson. I talked myself into it. I didn't want to do it. I actually wanted to take Josh Downs, who ended up falling to the 2-7 because he's my wide receiver 5. But I talked myself into it. In a one quarterback league, if my team blows, I can just draft Richardson and then just put him on my bench with no consequences. And then in 2 or 3 years, hopefully when my team is ready to compete, he'll also be ready. So it's a longer term pick, risky pick, but why not?
After your pick, Kayshon Boutte, Sean Tucker, Tajay Spears, Devin Kane, Josh Downs, and Dalton Kincaid came off the board. He's not going to make it to my next pick, and I'm really tempted to do it, but I feel like there's other options here for me. But 2-9 is basically a third-round pick, so what the hell?
That is true.
I'm going to take Darnell Washington.
Oh, but you are all in on that dude.
I was going to take Kendre Miller, but I just... At this pick, right, you have Marvin Mims as the best receiver available.
Yep.
Maybe.
Probably.
And then Kendre Miller is probably your best running back available. And then there's like a massive tier drop for running backs. So like I probably should have drafted Kendre Miller there because I think this is the best opportunity for him or Zach Evans to have success. But like
and that's why I'm gonna do it. Kendre Miller 3-2.
There you go.
Like, he's somebody who we like him pre-draft, but he's a guy who he gets drafted 4th round in a crap scenario, and we're not even going to be talking about him as a third-round pick.
Yeah, I think that makes it a little bit more risky of a pick, but like this is the problem with like being late in a rookie draft in a round, is that by the time you reach the 9th pick, the 10th pick, 11th pick, or 12th pick in the second round, it's a second round pick, but it's basically a third round pick.
Especially in one quarterback league.
So it's like, a lot of quarterbacks just got taken off the board if you're watching on YouTube. But, for me, it's like, I'm going to take Darnell because I believe in, he's a freak athlete and I believe in his ability. And hopefully, that does develop. If it doesn't, I could draft Kendre Miller and he could suck. I could draft, Marvin Mims and he could suck. So like, it's just, I'll take the athletic tall guy. Pick your poison.
Yeah,
I took him.
That makes a lot of sense. You want, especially at that point, just take the guy the most upside.
It's funny watching the quarterbacks go because I go, oh wow, Will Levis in the 3rd round. That's not happening in a Superflex league, so I'm not getting my hopes up.
No.
After Rick's pick, though, we saw Luke Musgrave, Hendon Hooker, I think it's Jake Haener, Marvin Mims, Stetson Bennett. Holy crap. What are you drunk people doing? The NFL doesn't want to draft him. You draft him in the 3rd round?
Zach Evans almost fell to you.
Zach Evans almost fell to me, and now is my pick. And like I said, this is where I typically because there's no real options here at this point. It's just kind of
unless you're a Roschon Johnson guy.
Oh, I love Roschon Johnson. See, this is the pre-draft mocks are so hard because
I know
by the time you reach that,
especially this range,
because by the time you reach the 4th round, it's kind of like, like you don't have any information on the player. So besides how they played in college and what their scouting report is, and like you're not really going to be able to figure that out until you find out what NFL teams really think of the player. So I'm gonna go with guys I like, and I'm gonna take Rick's guy. I'm gonna take Tank Dell.
Whoa,
3-9, baby.
Tank Dell.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna take your guy so you can like my team.
Fair enough. I'll take Johnson.
After Cedric Tillman went, and then I think it's Rashid Rice. Who did you take?
Like Roshan Johnson.
Oh, there you go, bud. Particular reason? You have an infatuation with Roshan?
I don't really love the player, but I know there are people out there that do.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard comparisons with like the Michael Carter Javonte year because he's on Texas.
Yeah,
he's the backup to Bijan, but apparently he's very efficient. So if he gets more opportunity, a lot of people think he could be a good late round value. So I'll take the flyer.
Okay, sounds good. We had a plethora of tight ends go after your pick. Latu, Kraft, Strange, and Laporta. We also had Tanner McKee and Malik Cunningham, two probably backup quarterbacks in the NFL.
I don't know why they're getting drafted in one quarterback leagues.
I was going to draft Xavier Hutchinson with the last pick, so we'll smash that.
There you go.
I took 3 wideouts. Now,
that's not bad, though.
I'm not going to lie, though. If I was in the championship, this whole draft would look different because I wouldn't have any of these picks.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I would have traded them all. I was gonna say, so usually at this point, like you get guys like Rick drafted Roshan Johnson, and I drafted Xavier Hutchinson. Tank Dell is probably a 4th round pick as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I look at those situations, like I see a player that everyone's talking about right now that didn't get drafted last year but was still drafted in rookie mocks, and it's Justin Ross. And,
yep, he was like a 3rd round pick too. He wasn't even just a.
You can go on my rage tweets and see what I'm going to talk about on the show before. But everyone on Twitter is now all in on Justin Ross because he practiced with Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes said a few nice things about him.
I mean, I don't mind him as like a roster stash on your taxi squad, but like, let's relax.
It's the problem I have is it a bad move to take Justin Ross and to taxi squad him or to pick him up and put him at the bottom of your bench? No, not a bad move at all. My problem comes when you start hyping up the move and telling everyone that he's going to be a really good wide receiver. Like, what? What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, that's too much. Way too much. But, it's that time of the year.
It is that time of the year. But, like, that's what's going to happen to guys like Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson. Like, somebody's going to get drafted by the Chiefs, and they're going to get overdrafted, or somebody's going to get drafted by, a team with a good quarterback, and everyone's going to be sweating because of what they do. Mm-hmm. And the Chiefs they still don't have a wide receiver. They lost a receiver.
It's the Sky Moore year, bro.
Yes.
If Kadarius Toney's actually healthy, I like him, but he's going to get hurt in week 2.
Yeah, he's gonna get hurt in week 2. But yeah, so don't mind my drafts. Zay Flowers, Darnell Washington, Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson. I feel like the first 2 picks are probably the ones that I want, and then the rest of them I don't.
Just flyers.
Yeah. I don't mind Team 1. Robinson, Mayer, Will Levis.
Yeah, I was looking at. I think Team 1's got a good squad.
They do have the first overall selection, so. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Excuse me.
I don't mind my team. Richardson might have been a
JSN,
stretch,
Rich. We both have.
Yeah.
We went athletic freaks in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Get those upside plays.
I feel like I like both of our first 2 rounds, and then after that, it was just kind of like, all right.
Yeah, but I mean, the 3rd and 4th round is just darts anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And look at the guys who got drafted anyway in that range. It's like a bunch of quarterbacks.
Right.
Maybe you could have taken a flyer on a tight end, but you already had one, so.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Any more thoughts, Rick?
No, I think that's it.
There is a mock draft 2.0. The next mock draft we'll do maybe will be on draft day. for the NFL draft. I believe it's at 8 p.m. at night, so you can watch the show and then watch the draft and enjoy it. Much draft running backs on Thursday. See you later, guys.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.